Hola,
Buen
buenos
día,
días.
buen día
Good
Claudia, buen día
morning.
Cristina, buen día
Buenos
Jeff.
días.
It is a beautiful, beautiful morning in Tijuana. We are having a great weather and we are working in Tijuana Innovadora. It's a big experience to be talking to you in English, Spanish, even Chinese. See us translated as Spanish or any other language through YouTube. Uh, Claudia is going to introduce our friends. So please, Claudia.
¿Cómo están? Qué gusto. Buenos días. Para las personas que no quieran, esta conversación va a ser en inglés. Entonces, quienes desean utilizar el traductor, váyanse por favor a tijuaneselfuturo.org y ahí escogen traducción simultánea y van a poderlo escuchar en español. So, hello everyone. We are so happy today. We have Cristina Hermosillo. She is partner of Hermosillo y Asociados. And also we have our dear Jeff Light, San Diego Union Tribune, publisher and editor-in-chief. Hello, you guys. How are you today?
Fine. Good morning.
Good morning. Thank you for having us.
Jeff, I always wanted to know how come that you become a newspaperman. Tell us about you.
Yeah, well, actually, sort of an easy answer, which was my father was a newspaper man. So I grew up in a newspaper family in upstate New York, and but I didn't really think of myself going into that field. Right, as a young man, I was a writer, interested in poetry, the arts, and then came the day when I needed employment. And that's when I started going down this journalism road.
Okay. And Cristina, how come that you become an architect and a builder?
Well, it's an answer similar to Jeff's. You know, when I was about to go off to college, I actually wanted to study graphic design. But at the time, you know, graphic design wasn't like a full licenciatura. You know, I don't remember how to translate that. You know, it was like a bachelor's degree. So the School of Architecture, you know, offered a more complete degree. And my father is an architect, and we already had a design and construction company in place. So I figured, you know, in the end, that allowed me to be creative, you know, and was a better option. And then I took off, you know, to my dad's alma mater in Monterrey, and that's where I studied. So that was basically it.
What are you doing right now, Cristina?
Well, you know, ever since I started working, you know, I've been working with the same company. But I've been lucky because I've been active, you know, in several facets or departments, you know, of our group. And at this moment, you know, we have developed a new office building in Tijuana, you know, which is named Tijuana Business Hub. And I'm actually heading, you know, all the leasing efforts, you know, related to this new project.
Okay. Jeff, is the newspaper important in these days? How the newspapers work in the pandemic? How to communicate? What things has changed? What are the same?
Yeah.
Would you please tell us?
Yeah, I mean, yeah, the newspaper is important, I think, in every community. And, you know, so sort of going back to my own story, I came in as I fancied myself a writer, right? And I thought that's what the profession was about. The artists telling these stories, the journalists. And to some extent that is still true, but really over the decades, I've learned the heart of the business is community service. So when you're telling the story of a community, you are building legitimacy around the different parts of a city, the cultural life, the business life. And I think we've learned more and more in recent years that without a legitimate media, the community life can become frayed very easily, and we can lose our bearings as communities. So that's the big picture. I think in the pandemic, it's such a stressful time for everybody, right? So everybody is looking to overcome isolation so that we can be connected and share experiences. You and I talked a little bit about that, Don Jose. In terms of getting things done, it's been a little bit of a revelation. We have everybody working remotely, right? So instead of for ourselves being in a big office tower, which we have in downtown San Diego, everybody's been sent, to the spare bedroom or the whatever they've got at home. And it turns out technology was good enough that we can do all of that. So I do think it's going to be a big change in how people work, or at least in how we work. Yeah, amazingly, we're able to do it all. It's quite a surprise to me.
Perfect. Hey, Claudia?
Yeah, well, I must say that I just came from Mexico City. I was born and raised in Mexico City. And I don't know, I just get in love with the region, with the binational and intercultural culture, if I may say, art and culture and creative industries. I mean, they're amazing. So that's how I have always been involved in education. So now I am like a fish in the water. So regarding what Jeff says, I want to thank Telcel because they have been sponsoring us, and as you know, gaming and office in your house and all that stuff that Jeff was talking about. It was good to have this Telcel helping us.
Well, the first program that we're going to have today is with a lady, Guarneros. She is the boss of she's sending the people to Mars for the NASA. She's doing NASA. She's sending, and she's going to be working with Tomás Cibaja. So this is the first program. The second program today, we are going to have a lady who is very well known in Mexico because she won the Oscar. The picture of Roma she's going to Aparicio, we will say it in Spanish. Se apareció Aparicio, is fantastic, and she's going to present how a lady, how has his life developed since the picture. And then we are going to have another lady, Ninfa Salinas, who is the chief of the Salinas Group, that they make Electra. She's a very well-known company in Mexico, very powerful company. They have a television group, and she's going to tell us how the women are working. And it is very important. I will ask Claudia to tell us about the book that we are promoting.
Yeah, I know we are very happy and excited about this book. And out of there, I must say that Cristina and I were talking about that she already asked for her book online. And well, Cristina, you are so great in this. And you have been a woman, you have been empowering women a lot. So I'm sure you're very happy about this program that we have today.
Yes, of course. And I think Ninfa Salinas was also a senator, during the last presidential term, so aside from being a businesswoman, she's also being involved in politics, which I think is important, because she spent 6 years representing us in the Senate, if I recall.
Exactly. And also Yalitza Aparicio has been very, very important, empowering women and getting into the movies, with no experience. And I know, Jeff, remember that you made this program, binational program with directors and producers doing movies and doing that. It was last year, Jeff?
Yeah, actually, we have a Migrant Voices Film Challenge that we run annually. specifically to tell the stories along the border, particularly of the migrants. But and what we're trying to do there is to encourage independent voices. And some of the work is really remarkable. Those air at San Diego's Latin American Film Festival every year. And yeah, it's incredible to see through the eyes of people at the ground level, the incredible stories.
There is a business in Tijuana, it's medicine. We really are good. We're going to have a program today with beautiful people who has different subjects. Tijuana is very good in different areas of medicine, and we are going to present it today. We are going to show the doctors that make possible this with Atsimba Villegas, who is a beautiful lady also. We are full of fantastic ladies working for the community, and Atsimba is one of them. Also, in Baja California, we have two big sport people who has developed their skills and they have won Olympic medals. So we are going to have we are going to show the world that we have very good young people doing very good in sport, being excellent in sport. And also, one thing that Tijuana Innovadora is developing is the design of clothing and design of we have been championing a whole industry that didn't exist 10 years ago. So we are going to have a lady who is very well known, Fusoni, and she's going to talk about what's the future of the fashion. There is a new discussion now if we should change dresses every day, if we should change or we should recycle the clothing. So, ¿qué piensa Cristina de reciclar la ropa?
La pregunta es que si debemos de cambiarnos de ropa todos los días.
No, pero no tirar ropa, sino continuar cuidando la ropa y reciclándola.
Well, that's a new trend. I think that's a new worldwide trend. Where people are being called to be more conscious. When they choose their clothing. But I think Tijuana, as you mentioned, has several very talented people. In fact, because of Tijuana Innovadora or the Innovamoda several years back, I was introduced to the Baez group. Which manufactures this spectacular leather wear. And now I can say, that I'm a customer of theirs. And that, that I didn't know that was going on, in our city until Tijuana Innovadora, showed it to me. So I'm grateful for that. And I guess I'm being responsible, because that is real leather, and there are pieces that you keep.
Exactly. And that's the trend, go local. And in this pandemic, it's really, really important to do that, to try to go local. And that's what you're saying with this producers of leather in the region. And as we were talking about, most of the people that is going out, they are coming from the University of Autónomas of Baja California, la Universidad Autónoma de Baja California, that most of our volunteers are coming from there, and many people that have been in our conference come from the Universidad Autónoma de Baja California.
Okay, there is something very strange. There are people who are making clothing de nopal. I wonder how we say nopal in English. If somebody help me, will be very nice.
Cactus?
But they are making clothing about nopal.
Would it be like cactus or?
Yeah, it's coming from cactus.
Exactly.
Cactus.
They are making clothing now with cactus, and they are going jackets. And if you don't like it, eventually, if you don't want it, you can eat it. So, so we can recycle. The name of this company is Deserto. We're going to have this presentation today about a very exciting, different way to make clothing. What do you think, Jeff?
I sometimes feel like in my job I'm wearing a cactus shirt. So you might save one of those for me, Don Jose.
Yeah, they are going to give a lecture today. Also, there is a guy who is the director of the in suministros of the Johnson and Johnson worldwide, the director worldwide of Johnson and Johnson. It's very interesting because we have developed a lot of business in Tijuana, and we want the business people to find guidance. And this we have this presentation, and I would like you to see it. It's very good, very important. And there is a guy who he's the director of TaylorMade. TaylorMade is a golf club, and he is going to give us a lecture today. He's going to talk about the business that he does. His name is Evelis. I have met him personally. He's a beautiful person. Cristina, do you play golf?
No, I don't. My husband is a very good golfer, but I think he wants to keep golf to himself in our house. So he does the golf, and I do other things.
You do the cooking.
Exactly. Well, I do, I do Pilates and I do CrossFit, but no golfing, and I think that is because that is like a kind of a male secret. It's really great to be on the golf course, with your friends and have, a couple of beers and go through the green, field. So I guess, my husband wants to keep that to himself. It's his therapy.
Hey, Jeff, do you play golf?
I did play golf when I was younger, but here's the golf. It takes all day. Who's got time to play golf nowadays? It's a great privilege to be a golfer. And by the way, those TaylorMade, I did have a TaylorMade driver. That was one of my favorite clubs. So you've got the right guy, I think.
He's very good. He's excellent. And he gives a very interesting lectures. He sells more than $1 billion every year. And he's, as a person, he's outstanding. So I'm very happy to do it. And Claudia, tell us about the book that already.
Yes, of course. If I may, Don Jose, I would like to thank you, Tijuana Economic Development Council, y el Baja California Business Trust, FIDEM, because they are our sponsors. Also to Farmacias Roma, More Than a Pharmacy, Arxus Nexus, which is a software development company, Toyota, who are the producers of the Tacoma, which is the pickup that has been for 40 years in the market, and also Teveras y Televisa, Frontera y Ciudad Tijuana. They are our sponsors. And of course, this program, it's very important for you. And I just want to say that it has no cost because of this people that is trusting in the program. And please, if you want to donate, you don't have to be in a company. You don't have to be a company. You can do it by yourself through our crowdfunding platform. You just got to go to tijuanainnovadora.org, and then you can share some of your income with with us. And yes, Mr. Galicot, I'm sorry. But yeah, we're working on this book, El Tercer País, and it has been very important in the region because we're talking about the topics that are interest in the San Diego-Tijuana region. So we organized 6 panels, and today we're going to have 2 of them. One is going to be with the writer and with the people that wrote the foremost, and she is Janet Napolitano. She has been the director of all the California system, and also Pepe Mead, who was the Minister of Foreign in Mexico. And also, we're gonna have the challenge of these twin cities, and we are gonna have the ambassador Roberta Jacobson and Arturo Sarucan. Also, Andrew Seeley, and they're gonna be moderator through with Gaston Luquen is gonna moderate this panel.
So in this effort has worked many of our friends, Jeff, Alan Bersin, Merlin Burham, and we create this book and we are advertising it. And we want them to be read because it's a new way to understand the border. It's a brilliant book, and we have to change the way that people think about the border. We have to see it as a big opportunity. Tell us, what do you think? Jeff.
Yeah, I just wanted to unmute. I'm sorry. Yes, I have. I've read a good bit of the book, and I really think it's a great undertaking. It gives you a historical view, so you can understand the evolution of the Twin Cities, San Diego and Tijuana. I was just looking on my screen, but I don't think I have it up, for a quote that I had from a podcast that Sandra Dibble is producing that talks about her 30 years covering the border, sort of a parallel project, I think. And she speaks about the remarkable place that Tijuana is, a crossroads, like other great cities of history that bring together people in unexpected ways, with great talent and resourcefulness and creativity. Those are the things you see happening in border cities, I think, the crossroads historically. And I think some of that is told also in Malin and in Alan's book. So yeah, I'm a big fan of that work.
I'm very excited. We have been promoting the book. I think we can, if we give this book to the right people and they read it, they will understand better the border. Mm-hmm. They will understand better the way that we live together and how we are friends and how we are a peaceful community who loves each other every day more. What do you think about this, Cristina?
What do I think? I couldn't agree more. I'm really looking forward to reading the entire book. I actually pre-ordered it from Amazon, as soon as the talk ended. And I think, that both cities have a lot of similarities, even if we're very different at the same time. During this pandemia, I've also been invited, to several talks. And in one of them, one of the speakers was talking about San Diego, diversifying its economy and being the 6th most important city in the United States. And the same is true for Tijuana, which is what I want to highlight today. Tijuana is always, fighting for the 5th or 6th spot in Mexico, as the largest city in our country. And Tijuana, organically has managed to diversify itself also. We have a huge manufacturing industry, but we also have a very important, medical tourism industry, which you were talking about, earlier today. And we are developing new areas, such as our culinary, scene and Valle de Guadalupe. And I guess, Tijuana, is getting there. And I'm very glad, that Tijuana Innovadora highlights, these good things that are happening on our side of the border. Thank you for your effort.
Claudia.
No, I would say thank you, Cristina, because you and Jeff have been part of the program. Tijuana Innovadora is not by itself. Tijuana Innovadora has been growing and working, and we are a community. We say that we are a collective because, woman as you, an entrepreneur, a businesswoman, Jeff as a media person, the reporters, also the government, the volunteers, the schools, everybody is Tijuana Innovadora. And we're just like the people that try to organize. And I would say try really, really hard, try to listen to the people, to listen to the vocations of the city, and try to just put it on the table and say, hey, these things are happening in here. These things people are like yelling and saying. That's why we divide our program in three different subjects. 10 years, no? Remember 2010 when we were like just starting with this? We don't know what's going to happen. So that's one of our topics. The other one is art, culture, and creative industries, because everybody knows that Tijuana is an industry, an industrial city. Yeah, but also a creative industry. And the third one is where are we going to be in 10 years? I mean, okay, 10 years, it already passed. I saw the pictures, but it already passed. So what's going to go in next 10 years? And so we're working on that. And that's what we just gathered in this program for 2020.
Yeah, if I may, I found this passage that is part of Sandra Dibble's podcast, and it's written in sort of grand terms, but I thought it was really appropriate. So she's talking with a friend of hers, and she relates, we talked about how the city was a crossroads, just like the cities of antiquity that I'd studied in school. Carthage, Alexandria, Damascus, Constantinople, a city of trade and migration, a place where paths converge, where lives play out, sometimes in unexpected ways. To me, that's such a beautiful capturing of Tijuana.
It's beautiful. You almost make me cry.
Yeah.
Cristina, unas palabras más finally, give us your thoughts. We tried to make this event the change of the pandemic, to say the pandemic goodbye. We are here, we're still working. We are the city that works, the San Diego city. We're an area, common area that works together. What would you tell me, please?
Well, first of all, that I'm very happy to see all of you. As you mentioned, this has been a long pandemia. And even though, it's been hard for all of us, and even, if our border is semi-closed, we see, that the relationship is there. And as I was mentioning, in my actual work, which is renting, an office building, that's very evident. Because many of our traffic, recently is precisely from companies that are coming, from California to Mexico. So even if there's a pandemia, even if the border, is partially shut, the need, for collaboration in our mega region is still here. And I'm very glad that Tijuana Innovadora, it doesn't give up. And the pandemic is not stopping you either, and that we're here today, and that you're taking, these 2 weeks to highlight all of the good things that are happening in our region. And I think, that after this, we're going to, meet each other in months or whatever time it takes, but we'll be present physically, and we'll see, that the city has become stronger and that we have become better persons because of this. So thank you very much, and I will be watching, my Tijuana Innovadora. Saludos a todos. Gracias.
Jeff, your last remark, please.
Yeah, I can't add anything to that. Beautifully said, Cristina. And thank you, Don Jose, for putting together this pretty remarkable celebration of the city and its people and our region over a decade now. Good for you. Glad to help in any way I can.
It has been a pleasure. Claudia.
Well, it's San Diego, Tijuana Innovadora, because we are a region. Then go and grab your coffee with De Volada, the only Tijuanense franchise coffee shop. Thank you.
Okay,
adelante,
amigos.
Producción.
Seguimos
Gracias.
con nuestro precioso programa. Un abrazo a todos.
Un bonito día.